you need to retire because you become a dinosaur. Or two, you need to look at what all your vulnerabilities are because modernization, and especially the security aspect of modernization, really is carried from moment to moment. Because your public expectations honestly get carried from moment to moment. That's why you have an elected board that gets to react to what your public wants you to do and your citizens want you to do. They're the ones who are able to take this topic that a week ago no one even knew was going to be the leading topic at this public meeting, and they're able to go, you know what, we're going to address this. We're going to address this first and foremost during this meeting, and we're really going to vet this with the public who's here to find out more about this or be able to speak. So when you start to think, oh, good, we spent some money, we got some really interesting stuff, we got it all turned on, it looks really cool, I'm done here.
Yeah.
You're a dinosaur because your public's expectations evolve a lot quicker than what the technology does. So the modernization is a constant.
It is.
It's a constant drumbeat, and I think a lot of people just they know that. I think a lot of our clients, our sponsors especially, are savvy enough to know that. But then the question just becomes, well, then how the heck do I stay on top of that if I know it's going to be a continuing struggle or it's going to be a continuing project to keep modernization going? But it is. The moment you find one-time dollars, you buy a bunch of stuff, you turn it on, that's going to last you maybe a year, year and a half, and then it's going to age, and you're going to be right back where you were before when you were in the bust cycle of technology, when you couldn't get money, you couldn't get motivation from folks, and you have to be able to sustain a lot of this and see what makes sense for you financially and resource-wise going forward.
Yeah, don't get complacent. Don't be a dinosaur. Things are constantly evolving and changing, and especially in the technology space. Just look at how quickly AI has what's the word I'm trying to say? I mean, we were just using chatbots,
Oh yeah, leapfrog is the word I would use.
Leapfrog, yes.
It literally
Sorry.
leapfrogs over itself over the
Yes.
course of a day or a couple of weeks.
Yes, absolutely. So Brian is joining us today, our newest member of the team. And RK, I'll let you sort of introduce Brian. But Brian says, I often find the selection process is a learning experience for the client, not just in terms of software vendors they're looking at, but also finding out realistically how engaged their team can be and what kind of commitment they're able to make throughout an implementation. And that will be one of the biggest factors in the timeline.
Yeah, so Brian, super savvy project manager, and glad to have him on our team. And this question is another example as to why we love having Brian on the team, because yeah, he's exactly right. There's this aspect of ERP is not real until situations like this start to occur. And let me phrase that a little bit better. So we don't like our new system. We want to be on a new system. We've got the funding, we've got the political capital, we've got the buy-in from the organization. Let's go. At that point, it's still not real. So when you start diving into the details, like he's talking about with selection, and you start planning out implementation, it starts to become really real to staff. And so then that's where initially there might not be some resistance. Now there might be some resistance from folks who are like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to learn a new system, which honestly a lot of people, that's what they worry about. Is this going to change my job? Is this going to eliminate my job? Am I not going to be able to keep up with the modernization within my department, even though I'm the department leader? But now I have my own insecurities about how this is going to play out. If we're going to dive into the details as to what we need for software, is this going to expose a weakness or vulnerability I didn't know about? These are the things that start to become real for the client as you start actually getting into the nuts and bolts of selection, and even by implementation as well. And it's classic. Even when you get to the point of the kickoff for the implementation, everyone's attitude in the room changes. They're excited, but they're also like, oh, wow.
Terrified.
This is not just something we've been talking about for 3 years. This is actually going to start, and this is actually going to require a lot of my time. And in a year or less, I'm going to be live on a new system. And so coaxing them through that reality and through that step is part of the change management process as well.
Which is mind-boggling to me. These clients, no offense, but the clients who don't use a consultant or an independent advisor to hold their hand through this implementation process. They're just working directly with the vendor. I can't imagine how mind-boggling and terrifying that could be as well. Do you have thoughts on not using a consultant, like a small commercial? But in terms of timeline, I can't imagine. I mean, I think that's why a lot of implementations fail. There's no third party PMO to hold those vendors accountable. So, what are your thoughts on that? And then we'll wrap up, RK.
Yeah, one of the ways I look at it is you have two distinct silos. Then you've got the client who's in their siloed world. This is all they've known for the past 5 years, in some cases 25, 30 years they've been with the organization. Sometimes they've had the system around for that long, their existing one. So they're in a silo of, they just know their world, and their world includes not having ERP modernization come along every 5 years or every 10 years. So some people have never even been through an ERP selection and an implementation. They're sitting in their silo. The other silo across the way is the software vendor and the implementer for that. They're a little less siloed because they have broad customer experience, but they also know only a few ways of doing things because that's what fits their particular system. This is what fits their standard timeline. And again, they're going for path of least resistance.
Yeah.
It's not that they're going, let's just get them live and get our money and run. They're going, this is how we know if we implement it on this exact way, we know with 100% certainty that this will work well and you guys will be live. But they're going to be ignoring a lot of other factors involved in this client sitting in their silo. And so you need that person in the middle who's able to bring both the client experience and working with the clients and understanding that client, because again, we usually have been working with them for several months, and then marrying our experience and our expertise in implementing a variety of systems in a variety of situations, especially with one software vendor in particular. There could be numerous variations on that particular implementation. And so we are able to bridge those silos and prevent it from being, this person speaks this language, the software vendor goes, I don't understand what that means, so let me just reiterate with you that we're going to go live on March 1st. It's the lack of communication can become very out of control in those situations because the client doesn't know what they should be asking the software vendor, and the software vendor is just going to give you the standard answer that they need to be able to get going and get this implemented. That's why you need a third party in there to help you and be your advocate.
Yes, and in the past, we've seen those who do not use a third-party consultant end up spending way more money in the long run, if you can imagine that. And maybe that's a topic for next time. But guys, we're going to wrap up today. Thank you, Robert, for joining me today, especially since you're on site. Good luck with your meetings. And if you're just joining us or if you're watching this later, make sure you go out and download our 2025 report. We talk about all things digital transformation, tips, tricks, things to consider. And we're constantly updating that because, again, our dream is to be the trusted advisor in this space as an agnostic partner for our clients. So, Robert, thank you. And we'll see you guys next week. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Bye.